and welcome to the very first program of The Spin, and we have got a great show. And I am at the Williams Formula One factory with none other than Sir Frank Williams. Thank you for the interview, Sir Frank. Let the fun begin. I read a report this week that people with mobility impairment have a lot of trouble getting examined, like pap smears and things like that.
When I first got injured, the gynecologist that I was seeing actually asked me if I could find somebody else.
And she basically was like, "Why are you here?"
The doctor didn't have much faith in me to get up on the examining table, and she put it off because I was in a wheelchair.
G'day and welcome to the very first episode of Cooking on Wheels. And he's a true champion of people with disability. Minister, welcome.
Sawadee krab. Well, welcome. Well, good to see you and happy to be in your program.
Good evening and welcome to the very first program of The Spin, and we have got a great show. And I am at the Williams Formula One factory with none other than Sir Frank Williams. Thank you for the interview, Sir Frank. Hello, I'll just put my earpiece in and find a place to put it. G'day everyone and welcome to an announcement for a 5-week series of programs on the future of the NDIS. We just did it before, but we forgot to push the button. Now I've forgotten my earpiece. Having a good day. Folks, before we start, there's a couple of people I'd like to thank. One is LA Fairchild, who runs quite a number of Facebook pages on the NDIS. Check them out. They're fantastic and they are a wealth of information, and we'll put some links to that over the next few weeks as well. And also to Joel Largo, who is the person who made some of the segments we'll be showing during this little chat or this little promo for the program today. Before we start, I'd just like to say that this is not meant to be a political statement. This is not about a particular political party or a particular political allegiance. This is about what's best for people on the National Disability Insurance Scheme of Australia. I don't care what party you're with. I don't care what your allegiances are. I just want a working, functional, secure National Disability Insurance Scheme for those people who need it. Now, why is this program happening? Because at the moment, there are a lot of changes being bandied about for the National Disability Insurance Scheme. I should have only done it once, Carl. I can't talk now. The question we're going to ask over the next 5 weeks is the NDIS, or at least its initial charter and promises, are they eroding? And I believe that they are, particularly the choice and control section of what they promised. At the moment, they're talking about things like independent assessments. We're going to tell you what those are, what the effects of what they'll be, the pluses if there are any, and the minuses. At the moment, though, I must say that the new NDIS Minister, Senator Linda Reynolds, has put those on hold. So it's really important that we talk about these things now and get our feelings back to the Senator so we can say, this is what we want, this is what we need, and this is why we feel that it should be that way. Now, originally, the NDIS was going to be funded by an increase in the Medicare level. A lot of people think it still is, but it wasn't. That was changed by the current government. Originally, it was going to be funded by the NDIS, by the Medicare levy increase, which made me feel really confident about what would happen with the NDIS. It made me feel secure. It made me feel like it would be ongoing and the money would be used for the right things. Let's have a look at what the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, said in the beginning about it and what he said a little bit later on.
And that is to increase the levy within the Medicare levy by 0.5% to ensure that the NDIS is fully funded.
He gave a speech about his brother-in-law with MS and that he is not saying no to Gary, his brother-in-law, and the 500,000 Australians counting on this.
And the difficult decision we've had to make is, how do you look someone with a disability in the eye, or their carer, or their family member, or their friend, or their parent, or their cousin, or their mate, or their customer, or their boss, and say, we just can't agree on this, so you're just going to have to live with uncertainty about the NDIS. No, we won't do that.
But then he did.
If you don't have to do it, then you shouldn't, and we don't have to do it now, and we won't be doing it.
The levy was scrapped by Scott Morrison, man of the people, as he claimed the tax would be just another tax increase on working Australians. So originally, the Labor government was only going to agree to a Medicare levy increase if it was only for people earning more than $87,000 a year, meaning a tax increase of a little under $400 a year. Australians actually support a fully funded NDIS, so the scrapping of the levy was not based on public opinion. They have scrapped this levy to balance their budget on the backs of people with disabilities. Morrison said, "Where we're able to achieve what people with disabilities need and not have to increase the tax burden on Australians, he, Gary, his brother-in-law, is a taxpayer too, so he is happy about that." This is not the only time that Scott Morrison has taken money from the NDIS. In 2018, he took $3.9 billion out of a collection of money that was set aside for the NDIS and used it to fund drought relief for farmers.
Well, it looks like we are going to have to live with uncertainty in the NDIS. And I often wonder whether Gary really is happy about what happened. I'd love to talk to him and find out, but I don't think that's going to happen. There is so much that we need to talk about in the next few weeks to talk about why these things are happening. Now, a lot of people say that the NDIS spends too much money. It's being rorted by the providers. It's being rorted by the participants. Everything is not regulated enough. Now, there may be some truth in that. So, of course, we need to look at things and fine-tune things and make sure that the money is spent wisely and all that sort of thing. But while you're sitting there thinking that it's the providers or the participants that are gaining the most money out of the NDIS, let's have a look at what Mr. Martin Hoffman, the current CEO of the NDIS, makes when he's doing his job as an NDIS CEO. Let's check that out.
He initially received $554,220 a year. Then, within 8 days of being in office, without doing anything to fix the issues facing the NDIS, he received a pay rise at the request of Minister Robert of $166,260 per year. He is currently earning more than the Prime Minister.
Isn't that amazing? More than the Prime Minister for a small part of the budget of the country. Perhaps the opportunistic things that happen aren't just for participants and providers, but we'll leave that where it is at the moment. Another thing that's been stated that we want to look at, the NDIS minister, or the old one, not the new one, said that there have been no deaths attributed to waiting for the scheme, waiting for funding for the scheme, that sort of thing. Well, he can say that, but the NDIA, the agency that runs the NDIS, revealed that there were 1,279 deaths while waiting for the scheme. And you might think that's a lot. Let's put it into a little bit of context. I think there's been just under 1,000 deaths for COVID-19, and look at the government response to that. Maybe that's a little unfair, but I think it's just something worth mentioning. So we need to look at the NDIS. We need to work out what we want and let the government know, because we need security, we need things to be solid, we need the budgets to be right. That's why I think it should have stayed with the Medicare levy increase. I mean, I'm 65 years old and I'm petrified that all of a sudden the government's going to say, well, people over 65 can't have the NDIS anymore. I mean, the original thing was if you became a participant before you were 65, you would stay on there for the rest of your life, basically. But we are seeing that the government is going back on their promises and doing things in a way that is just designed to save money. Let me give you an example. Participants in independent living are often people whose situations do not change, and they are really complex individuals with complex needs, and they have finally got some security at the moment with the NDIS, and they're saying now that people who are rated as complex, and I know a number of these people, their situation's not going to change. They get the supports they need. Yes, they're quite expensive. Yes, they cost money, but they are there and they're secure. All people on complex supports are going to be downgraded to standard and are going to have to prove once again that they need the supports that they've already got. What could the motivation be for this? There's only one: saving money. Saving money so that more money can be put into other areas of the budget. As I said, I acknowledge that the government has a lot of expenses at the moment, and I'll say it one more time, that's why it should have been in the Medicare level. The whole purpose of the NDIS was to give a choice and control to people with disabilities, and right now they're looking at taking away the choice for sure, and most of the control. They're even saying that once an independent assessment has been made, you will not be able to review it. You won't be able to take it to review. Where's the control there? Where's the choice? It seems to me like things are going downhill, and I don't think they should. Let me say that I am so grateful for what the NDIS has done for me already. It has changed my life. I am thrilled to be a part of it. I'm grateful to be a part of it. I don't feel entitled. I feel like it is a privilege. But this change is really making me nervous. They're trying to take away support coordinators, and my support coordinator made the biggest difference to me than anyone when they came into my life. I didn't even realize what I needed and what I could get and what would make my life better until they helped me. So there's a lot of things that have been done right. Please, please don't take it away. If you'd like to be part of our panel, that's what this is about today, give us an email on admin@accessibleglobe.tv. Get on the panel. Over the next 5 weeks, we are going to have panels with participants. We are going to have panels with providers. We are going to ask government ministers, both past and present, to be part of those panels. We really want to look in depth at where the NDIS is going. Now, before I finish for the day, let's have a look and just a mention of some of the people that have been supporting us. Hello World Travel in Harvey Bay. Simple Solutions, who, by the way, are an NDIS provider and also a trainer, and they're quite concerned about the situation as it is and the direction. And let me tell you, I know these people, and they are not in there just for profit. They're in there for the participants and what they can do to help people, and they're terrific. Totally Mobile, IOMI, who do house renovation, not house renovations, house automation, I should say. And my house pretty much does everything I ask it to now automatically, except make the tea, and Carl still has to do that. Look, we will start these programs on Thursday week, but we will have a number of little promos like this to talk to you about what's happening and who's being involved and what we're going to talk about. So thanks very much for listening today. As we asked, please subscribe. Carl put his favourite Pac-Man thing. Do it again, Carl. I know you love it. Carl loves his Pac-Man thing. There you go. Well, just one more time. Thanks very much for listening to us. And we'll talk to you in a couple of days about what we're planning on these programs on The Spin. Thank you.